We are focused on both third-party IPs as well as our own brands IPs. Going forward, we would like to really expand on our internal capabilities on developing games internally for our own IPs.
Hello and welcome to the Game Business Show with me, Christopher Dring. I am in Nice in France to attend EVO, the fighting game tournament. There's going to be some Tekken, there's going to be some Dragon Ball, and I'm going to enjoy that. What you're going to enjoy is an interview with the president and CEO of Bandai Namco Entertainment, Nao Udagawa. It's a very rare interview. She doesn't normally do it, so it was a really privilege to be able to speak to her. Check it out. Hello, Udagawa-san. Welcome to the show. Thank you for coming. I wanted to begin by hearing a little bit about your career and about the roles that you've had. Could you tell us about that?
Thank you very much. It's very nice to meet you, and thank you for the opportunity to have this interview. So I joined Bandai back in 1994. I have always wanted to work for a manufacturing company because I wanted to work closely with the items that are embedded in customers' lives. Bandai at the time was venturing into new fields, very many of them. And since the third year that I have joined the company, I have started to work on the network contents operations. At the time, my focus was to work on the internet and also PC communications services. I was at the time working on the contents within the carrier communications services, and that company became part of Bandai Namco Entertainment. And that's when I started to work on the network games as part of the carrier communication services. And that company became part of Bandai Namco Games. And I became the president and CEO of Bandai Namco Entertainment 2.5 years ago. But before that, I was the president and CEO of Bandai Spirits, which focused on toy and hobby items. In Bandai Spirits, I have dealt with models as well as collectible items. So tangible items were my focus. And now, as part of Bandai Namco Entertainment, I focus on games as well. So it has been a great pleasure to be both involved in practical as well as games contents, both on the short-term and long-term items as well with life cycles.
Fantastic. So what do you think have been your greatest achievements, your best achievements so far?
そうですね。バンダイナムコエンターテインメントの中で、
I think when I became the business development manager of network entertainment contents,
初めて事業部ができた時に、そこの
we have started to work on mobile apps, mobile game apps.
売り上げをかなり
very early in the industry, and it was my aim to at least double the sales figures.
メンバーと一緒に、アプリのコンテンツの中で IP を
So we really worked hard on it. I consider it to be one of my greatest achievements to be able to expand on the mobile game apps figures.
Well, fantastic. Congratulations on that. Well, let's talk about Bandai Namco Entertainment. You do so many things across so many different vehicles. What have been your most important recent successes, do you think?
そうですね。
Well, yes, I believe one of the notable ones is Elden Ring, which we have developed in collaboration with FromSoftware. In terms of sales figures, we have recorded the best ever in Bandai Namco brand, and that itself is an achievement. But not only that, with the Elden Ring brand, we have released various different games, and that shows that that world has been celebrated amongst the fans and the clients, and we have managed to really capture them in the world that we created.
Well, I'll talk about that because the FromSoftware could work with anyone. They could work, well, they do. They work with Nintendo, they work with Sony, they work with Activision, but they always seem to come back to you. What's the secret between that long-lasting relationship between Bandai Namco and FromSoftware?
I believe the length of our successful collaborations is really the key. What both companies have mutually is that we are aiming to exceed fans' expectations always. So FromSoftware works extremely hard on development, and we do our best in terms of global marketing. I think both sides' really hard work and dedications have managed to capture and bring out the best. That seems to work very well for the fans as well.
Well, we've talked about some successes, but what are the challenges that you're facing at the moment? Where perhaps are you struggling?
そうですね。まだ
Well, I believe there is still capacity for our business to expand even further.
ポテンシャルは
I believe there are so much that we could still do to deliver amazing entertainment to the customers. So I think we have set the bars high, and we believe that there are so much more that we could deliver ongoing.
Well, Capcom recently spoke about concerns around consoles, PlayStation and Xbox in particular. PlayStation, because of the higher prices of these machines. Is this a challenge you've identified?
I think it depends on the titles, obviously. However, I do think it's not wrong when the concerns has been expressed that, yes, these console games tend to require a long time to develop and that cost tends to be higher. But I think one of our strengths lies in the breadth of the portfolios that we have. So yes, we do have AAA titles, but there are many more games that the fans look for and are waiting for as well, of various scales. So I think it is our focus to not only limit ourselves to one side of the business, but really work everything concurrently.
You're talking about the cost of games there, and the cost of AAA games have been rising, but we've seen a lot of companies lately talk about doing more AA, smaller titles, and they've been performing strongly in the market. How are you approaching what games and franchises that you invest in?
One thing that I can stress is the diversity in our titles and the lineup that we hold. Their primary focus is we do try and deliver what the customers really are looking for, something that they would be pleased to see them released. And then we consider the costs of development as well as the scheduling as well. Then we try and assess the varieties within the new releases.
Is there a change in what you're signing or what you're commissioning as a result of the challenges in the market?
I think change is inevitable in any industry, but particularly in games as well, and in terms of markets, it's natural for everything to change. So I don't see the change as a challenge so much, but I think we just need to adapt to the changes and what's happening in the market and the industry. But the primary focus does not change. We tend to consider the fans and what they are looking for and what they would be pleased to see. And so I really think it's one of the most interesting things to ride through these challenges and the changes that might be happening today.
Well, let's talk about something that has been successful in the market. The Nintendo Switch 2 has launched. It's got off to a very strong start. How are you feeling about that?
Yes, Nintendo Switch 2 is doing extremely well, and we have games released on that platform. So yeah, we are extremely pleased with what's happening. And there are many new playful functions, for example, chat functions as well as game share functions. And they could use the console as if it's a mouth as well. And that's extremely new, novel, and interesting.
発売したたまごっちのタイトルでも
One of the titles that we have released on Tamagotchi is set in a sushi restaurant. And so the players could really mime as if they are making sushi as part of the game. And that kind of immersive experiences are new and I believe is extremely interesting. That's something that customers could really enjoy.
Some of your games are third-party partnerships, they're other people's IP. How much emphasis are you putting on those partnerships, other people's IP, versus pushing your own brands?
どちらも注力してます。
We are focused on both third-party IPs as well as our own brands' IPs. Going forward, we would like to really expand on our internal capabilities of developing games internally for our own IPs.
Well, that's quite exciting. You've had some success in the smartphone space, I think, with Gundam and things like that. What is your current strategy towards sort of mobile?
It's great to see how well mobile games have been doing from our company. And my career, as I have explained, has started in the mobile games businesses as well. So I do feel it's very close to my heart. So it's exciting. It's an exciting time, exciting field. I would like us to keep delivering to the customers what they find exciting. So we have a diverse range that is ready to come out.
Mobile's so hard to succeed in, it's such a competitive space. The big games, always the big games. So it must be quite reassuring to see some of your games get into that top 10 and get into those rankings. Is it the strength of the IP? Is it your experience with making games in that space, do you think, that's helped you achieve that?
I think first and foremost, we develop mobile games based on the strength of its own IPs.
あとですね、当時本当分析
Another thing to mention is our strength in analysis, marketing analysis. We do determine at which pathways the customers find our games, and also the monetization process is being analyzed as well.
力をその確認に力を
So we do get to know our customers and the games itself extremely well. So that analysis steps really help. And
具力というのも
as well as that, our capabilities in global marketing seem to work hand in hand.
And what's your philosophy about expanding your IP and your games into other mediums like movies and films?
そうですね、バンダイナムコ
As Bandai Namco Group,
その IP を様々
to really have the IP contents as our focus
はもう一番元となる
is really the core of our principles.
ですのでその
I think all our employees' focus is how to
のその
really capture the world created through its own IPs
だったり商品に
and let them develop into different products or different mediums. That's really something that we do think about a lot. So not only limited to one medium such as adaptations, we do think about everything as an integrated process. So as well as films, for example, turning our IPs into products, something that can be embedded into customers' lives. So it's a total integrated approach. I think that is the key to our approach.
Do you have any examples of that, of something that you've done that's a bit like that, or you're doing that's like that?
そうですね
Yes, we are surrounded by some of them. Pac-Man has celebrated the 45th anniversary, so we have celebrated his 45th birthday together as a whole.
ですごく知名度のある
He is a well-known character already, but I believe he actually has even more potential.
で
So I think especially in regarding the licensing business, that's something that we'd like to expand on.
Well, let's talk about, it doesn't have to be Pac-Man, but you do have this huge back catalogue of games and IP that go back 45 years in some cases. What are your current thoughts on the retro game space, and what Bandai Namco's role might be in that?
そうですね
Yes, sure. We call them legendary IPs within Bandai Namco, and
本当にゲーム性から
most of them are extremely unique in its characteristics, and they are gems of IPs. So we do get approached by partner companies with the view of collaborations.
ですので当社として
So we are trying to rebuild
ことも考えてます
onto those legendary IPs
さんと一緒に
and exploring new pathways to collaborate with potential partners.
Is that through merchandise, or are we talking remasters, ports, remakes? What sort of things are you potentially looking at?
いろんなことを考えてます
Many different ways.
Okay. I'll move on. Well, let's ask a general question then. What do you see as the growth opportunities in video games today? What do you see as the opportunities?
I think it's best that we play on our strength. Each company plays on strength. And I personally view really valuing the fans and what they are looking for.
当社グループ
One of our group's purposes is fun for all into the future.
があるんですけどもやっぱりファン
That captures our motto and the way that we work on everything.
ていくという考え方なんですけど
We really want to make the fans smile, really be happy with what we produce. So I want our future to be created with our fans.
We recently had someone on our show who said that he believes in strengthening your strengths and not strengthening your weaknesses, which I thought was I don't know, I picked up the same sort of sentiment from what you were just saying there.
ですかそうですね
I really do think so.
やっぱり
Well, our group have many outlets and they are touch points to our customers. So I think it makes sense and it's extremely valuable for us to never forget those touch points and always maintain a great relationship with our fans.
I'm going to ask about Japan, because Japan's video game industry is enjoying what feels like a huge resurgence globally. What do you think is behind that?
そうだとしたらとても嬉しいです
It's wonderful to hear if that's true.
本当に日本らしく
So some of the strength that I can really attest to is the attention to details in Japanese games development, and as well as
あとキャラクターの
the representations on the character's skills and strength, really. And if those expressed through anime as well as games,
行き渡って
and if that has been communicated to the fans, that's really our most pleasure, really.
Not just Japan, you've seen it with Korean drama, Korean music, and And just you're seeing games, films, music developed in other countries doing so well in Western countries and all over the place. And it's really wonderful to see in many respects, but also the quality of the development, as you say, probably because of the attention to detail, has been so impressive. And it's just great to see the games winning all these awards. There felt like a period of time where Japanese games were in the wilderness, and to sort of see them become leading the industry again is well, there's not a question here, but I'm very pleased to see it.
ありがとうございます。
Thank you for that.
先月
At the Tokyo Game Show that happened very recently, it was wonderful to see so many global participants coming outside of Japan. About half of the participants were really not from Japan, and that was wonderful to see. But it really showcased the growth and the size of the global games business itself. So I really hope that more games would really travel from Japan, created in Japan, but also travel to the international markets, that we would really strengthen our development capabilities as well. That's something that I really look forward to seeing.
Yeah, me too. And this Elden Ring is a great example of that. I'll ask one final question. Where would you like to see Bandai Namco Entertainment in 5 years?
What I'm aiming for is to keep creating what the customers are looking for and something that could make them happy. And we would like to produce a diverse range of those titles and really keep making them pleased with what they see.
It's a very, very succinct aim. Well, thank you so much, Udagawa-san, for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on, and it's been a privilege to speak with you. So thank you.
It was wonderful.
Thank you very much.
That's it for today's episode of the Game Business Show. It was a real privilege to be able to speak to Udagawa-san about all things Bandai Namco. We will be back in the days and weeks to come to discuss all things video games industry, some analysis, some interviews, some news, the usual stuff. Until next time, thank you for tuning in.
What's the first thing you do when you get into work in the morning?
The first thing I check, it's not an interesting answer. I just check my schedule.
What's your favourite Bandai Namco IP?
Pac-Man.
It's a quick answer. What is your favourite movie of all time?
Back to the Future.
That's a great answer. Back to the Future. Will Nintendo Switch 2 outsell Nintendo Switch 1?
Well, I will just say that I'd love it to exceed.
What company in the video game industry do you admire the most outside of Bandai Namco?
Well, all of them have unique characteristics and I respect them all.
That's definitely a dodge. And what's your favourite? Oh no, Pac-Man. Will game streaming ever become a mainstream proposition?
If it develops its own standing as a platform, I don't think it's a bad thing for our industry.
Who's your favourite band or musician?
I don't have one.
Okay.